The Chiefs-Bills game ended in controversy this week when Travis Kelce had this immaculate pass wiped off the board because Kadarius Toney had a foot offsides. And everyone in the Chiefs organization was mad about this. Andy Reid was mad about this, but most importantly, Patrick Mahomes was mad about this. He complained to Josh Allen after the game, and he complained in the post-game press conference. He didn't want that flag to be thrown because he thought it was a little ticky-tacky thing which did not impact the result of the game. And my response to that is, one, he was pretty clearly offsides. He was egregiously offsides, and I don't think he ever looked at the referee to determine if he was in the right spot or not. Kadarius Toney, one of the few men I can confidently call ugly, is also a bit of an idiot. So there's a real chance he just ignored the ref and lined up, looked at the ball and said, yeah, close enough, and then proceeded to run the play. But you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have it both ways, Kansas City Chiefs. Last year, you won the Super Bowl on a ticky-tack call, which admittedly was a penalty at the end of regulation. That hold had not been called all game, but was called on the most important play of the game and gave you the chance to win. Much like this. Kadarius Toney had not had an offensive offsides called on all game. Hadn't lined that far up all game, but still, hadn't had a penalty called on all game. Does that penalty in the biggest moment? Play ceases to exist. But you didn't lose the game because of that. You lost the game because you have terrible wide receivers. And that wasn't a 4th and 10 and you didn't get to run the play again. You had 2 more chances to pick up that first down and you failed both times. Blaming the officials for this is ridiculous. They made the right call. The Chiefs lost that game based off their own merits or lack thereof, and hearing Mahomes and Andy Reid complain about it is ridiculous.
Well, I need to preface my thoughts on the call and what I think about the Kadarius Toney and the penalty, or the people that think there shouldn't be a penalty. I need to preface it with what I'm about to say because the Chiefs haters out there are going to call me a Chiefs homer if I don't. The past 2 weeks, I've been saying the Chiefs are not the same team, and it is because of those wide receivers. Their offense is not nearly as explosive as it has been in the past because the receivers aren't as good and they aren't as consistent as they were last year. They're not getting it done. And then when it comes to the people, you said, oh, the Chiefs want their cake. What is it saying?
Want to have their cake and eat it too.
They want to have their cake and want to eat it too. There's that saying going out there. You think they're salty. You think they're mad at the refs. They are just frustrated with how poor they've been, with how bad they've been in big moments. The fact that the receivers have struggled, that's what Patrick Mahomes is upset about. It's not that he wants to fix the league. It's not that he wants things rigged for him so that he can win. It clearly, and he would never acknowledge this, but that is clearly why he said the things he did, whether it be to Josh Allen in the post-game presser. That's where that is coming from. That's where that frustration is coming from. And I agree. He shouldn't have been saying those things because it only opens up the door for the haters to make their opinion known that the Chiefs suck, that Patrick Mahomes is a crybaby, and he shouldn't have said those things because it leads to that. But that's where it's coming from. It's not because he wants the game fixed and he wants the things to always go in the Chiefs' favor.
To categorize the people criticizing Mahomes or complaining about this penalty as haters feels a bit ridiculous. But I will say, taking this out on the referees instead of deciding to say, yeah, Kadarius Toney, that guy should have been cut yesterday, get him off my team, that's the correct thing to do. He could have gone in and blown up the Chiefs' locker room in this post-game interview and eliminated them from the playoffs in Week 14. He blamed the officials instead of his lackluster teammates, and I got a lot of respect for him for that.
Now, when it comes to the call specifically, I do get what Patrick Mahomes is saying from the standpoint that, to me, it feels like a soft call. In the Super Bowl, the holding call that benefited the Chiefs was also, I think, that can be considered a soft call. While it was technically a penalty, clearly a holding call, clearly he was offsides, I don't think anyone in their right mind would argue that Kadarius Toney was behind the line of scrimmage or even on the line of scrimmage. But in my opinion, for a penalty that does not affect the outcome of the play in the slightest, it did not affect Kadarius Toney's ability to get down the field. In one of the biggest moments, people last year that weren't Chiefs fans were constantly complaining, oh, of course the NFL gives everything to the Chiefs. You know, it's let them play, let them play. That's exactly what you were complaining about for the Super Bowl. It happened to benefit the Chiefs that time. Now, the exact same type of thing where let them play, let them play. Now it's going against the Chiefs and you're all pointing and laughing at the Chiefs. So which way do you want it? Do you want to let them play? Do you want there to be soft calls in the NFL? make up your mind for the people that hate the Chiefs at this point.
There is a massive difference, in my opinion, between a holding call, a PI call, and a pre-snap penalty. One is impossible to miss, just not subjective. You're either lined up on sides or not. There is room for debate in the PI stuff like, oh, was it a hold, wasn't it a hold? You gotta throw the flag there. If he's lined up so far off sides and you look at the referee's comments that they couldn't see the ball, it's a penalty. It's not their responsibility to inform Kadarius Toney like, hey, you're lined up off sides. And if it was, he wasn't looking at the official to get that information. I think there's a clear difference between those two. It's not letting him play. Well, you don't let him play prior to the snap.
Kadarius Toney, there is some blame for him here for not making sure he's lined up with the ball properly and not checking in the biggest moment.
There's a lot of blame for him here, let's be honest with ourselves. This season, there's a lot of blame for Kadarius Toney.
There is a lot of blame there. I just think, in my opinion, it is a bit soft of a call while it is a penalty. And I feel the same way about the holding call. That was clearly a holding call. I mean, you saw the jersey get pulled. You saw his arm wrap around him. If you don't see that, I don't know where you're looking.
I mean, there's a difference between watching the game in live speed and watching it in slow motion. Everything's a hold in slow motion.
I mean, sure, but it was a hold.
It was a mark.
We don't need to debate a Super Bowl call.
I'd love to do that, but a few things I do want to address. First off, Brad Allen, the referee of the Packers game last week, he got screwed over by his officiating group, which was assigned to him by the NFL. That's not on Brad Allen. I've seen Brad Allen catching strays because of the way that Packers-Chiefs game ended. Blame his other officials. The NFL gave him those bum officials. Don't blame Brad Allen. He's from North Carolina, 10-year vet, one of the best referees in the league, should get a Super Bowl very soon. He is not to blame for how that game ended. Second off, Patrick Mahomes saying, oh, I hope they still show that play when Travis Kelce goes into the Hall of Fame. What are we talking about here, man? Travis Kelce has hundreds of touchdown receptions, thousands of yards, countless game-winning or game-deciding plays. He's dating Taylor Swift. Show footage of him and Taylor Swift's honeymoon when he goes into the Hall of Fame. Show footage of him catching touchdowns in the Super Bowl. This appeal to emotion like, oh, this great play, this lateral from Travis Kelce will not be seen in history because of this penalty. I can't help but laugh at that. Every time Travis Kelce has tried to lateral the ball, it has not gone well. It generally results in a fumble. This time, a penalty was in place. What I'm getting from this is that maybe Travis Kelce should not keep trying to lateral the ball because nothing good comes of it.
Well, I mean, I spoke to it already, but I think we know why he's saying that. His emotions are running high because Travis Kelce is the only functioning member of that offense receiving the ball, and even he hasn't been playing quite up to the level we've expected from him this season, and the receivers have been awful. So it's pent-up frustration from all of that, not wanting to lash out at any teammates, and then just throwing that out there. It's clearly running high on emotions and just saying anything at that point. He's fed up with the Chiefs.
It's a stupid thing to say. I don't care how fed up is. Like, that is the funniest part of this whole story to me. Not Kadarius Toney lining up clearly offsides. Not him complaining to Josh Allen post-game. All-time bad look, by the way. Not that think of the Travis Kelce Hall of Fame induction video. What are we doing here, man? Anyway, that's our thoughts on the situation. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. If you're still watching, please like, share, subscribe. We appreciate your support. Use code Thicc on Underdog, 2 C's.